Use a relationship clarifier. In this episode, I'm going to address how to decide which clients to work with. Does it sound like that's a nice problem? You have more clients than you know what to do, and you have to decide which ones you're going to work with and which ones you're not. I'll show you how to create those kinds of opportunities and decide which ones you are going to work with. So my name's Doug Andrew, and I've helped many business owners, actually thousands of them, create more opportunities in their life, more engagement with people than they have available time, than they have the capability to be able to help. That's a nice problem. Unfortunately, there are a lot of business owners that go through their entire careers and they have way more availability for their time than they have opportunities to engage with clients or customers or patients if they happen to be a doctor or a dentist or what have you. And so I've helped many business owners flip that. It's a nice problem to be able to have way more people, more opportunities, more people who want to engage with you than you can possibly handle. That's a nice problem. And it's easy to solve if you use some type of a filter or a clarifier to determine which clients, which opportunities you're going to seize, which ones you're going to delegate to maybe other people on your staff or even competitors because they don't meet your criteria, and which clients, customers, opportunities you're just going to flat out walk away from because it's not worth your time. As I've often said, there are certain people that brighten up your office when they leave it, okay? And so I learned a long time ago, they're miserable, I'm miserable, so why don't I just fire them early? And some people say, well, don't you want to help everybody? Well, yeah, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And so I learned a long time ago, everybody's happier when you establish clarity from the word go on, hey, if you have this mindset, if you can sort of score yourself here, you will be happy with the relationship. If you do not fit in this criteria, I'm recommending that you don't go any further. We're not the ones for you. And they have actually been grateful that I was that candid up front. But so many times business owners, they just are clamoring for anybody that'll fog a mirror. Oh, come on in, let me show you what I've got here. Life's too short to have to go through that. You want to create more engagement than you have opportunity or availability. So once you do that, and I'm going to show you how you can get a free copy of my most recent book called The 10 Keys Transformation that will show you how to have more engagement than availability instead of more availability than engagement. You can flip that. But let me show you this concept that I call the relationship clarifier. I've helped over 3,000 financial advisors, CPAs, tax attorneys. I've helped hundreds of doctors and dentists and chiropractors, CPAs and tax attorneys see how they can take their practice to a higher level and only work with people they enjoy working with that appreciate them. So in my most recent published book, it's called The 10 Keys Transformation, and I talk about the 80-20 rule, which basically says most business owners, they derive 80% of their revenue from the top 20% of their clients or customers, okay? And so I go, hey, how long do you want to keep doing that? You ought to flip it. You ought to be spending 80% of your time with the people that make up 80% of your income, and your income will go up. It's easier said than done, but I teach people how to be able to define the attributes of your ideal client so that you only attract those people. And so you have to ask yourself honest questions periodically. So what are the attributes of my ideal client? What do my ideal clients expect me to deliver? What do I need to do to improve my relationships with my ideal clients? And what makes them tick, okay? What is their main purpose for living? Who and what is most important to them? And then you will begin to attract the ideal clients that you enjoy having in the office. They brighten the office when they enter it instead of when they leave it, if you know what I'm talking about. So sometimes people are like a drain instead of a fountain. I teach my kids and grandkids When you're in a group of people, you want to brighten the room when you enter it. You want to have an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. You want to be talking about what's going right in the world, not what's going wrong. You don't want to commiserate. You don't want some higher power looking down saying, come on, are you with me or against me? So let me explain what I'm talking about here. Thomas Edison is one of my favorite people in history because he is famous for inventing what? The incandescent light bulb. And he made over 10,000 attempts with his team to invent the electric light. When a young reporter came up to him and said, Mr. Edison, how does that feel, having failed 10,000 times? Edison said, you're young, you don't understand. I have not failed 10,000 times. I've successfully found 10,000 ways that don't work. And he attempted 6,000 more times before he successfully invented the incandescent light. And that's what he's famous for. But you know what I really appreciate about Edison? He learned how to take two symbols, the Morse code, okay, a dot or a dash, and he figured out how to communicate with telegraph from San Francisco to New York in less than 7 seconds, when to buy, when to sell, with a dot or a dash, two symbols. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is this is the precursor to what? Digital technology. In other words, when I was in high school and we had our first calculators this thick, or the scoreboard up there in the gymnasium, if these two LED lights were on, that was a 1. If this one was also on, that was a 7. This was a 9, this was an 8. But see, these 8 bits made up a byte of information. And you could make alphabet letters, so that could be a B, just like an 8. But see, it's really a series of little LED lights or bars that are they on, okay, or are they off? And that is perceived as a letter or a bit of information. And what's so amazing is when digital technology came out, the first digital camera weighed over 20 pounds and cost over $20,000. Now you get 2 of them for less than $10 on a smartphone, or 3 of them. I got 3 of them on my last iPhone. And the resolution, it just blows the others away. And so it all came out with digital technology where Steve Jobs said to his daughter, you're going to have 1,000 songs in your pocket, because he knew how to use iTunes and be able to have people buy music for 99 cents a song. And the music industry, which was scarcity minded, they sort of were in the off mode. No, you can't do that. People have to buy 12 songs on an album. He said, no. Sell them for 99 cents a song and you'll make more money. And he was right, and now they're grateful. But at first, they thought he was a threat. When you bring this down to its simplest common denominator, I ask my children, grandchildren, entrepreneurs, when you're looking at your clients and customers, you need to determine, are they on or are they off? Do they brighten the room, or do they brighten it when they leave? Or are they off? And I only want to hang out with people who are abundant-minded people. I don't want them sucking energy out of the room and always acting like we have a scarcity mindset. So I created what is called the Relationship Clarifier. And I actually pass out a sheet of paper like this at the beginning of a seminar, or it's in the front page of my most recent best-selling financial book. It's right in the very first chapter. People go in, and in the introduction, it says 8 mindsets from scarcity to abundance. And I get pretty frank. I basically say, here are the 8 mindsets. If this describes you in this column, stop reading this book now. Put it down. This book is not for you. I'm pretty frank. People say, what? You're discouraging people from reading a book? Yeah, if that's their mindset. I don't want them reading the book. I don't even want to talk to them. If this is their mindset, then you can embrace the coming pages in this book and you will be rewarded. And people get shocked sometimes. I've had many people in my profession go, that's pretty bold, Doug. So to give you just an idea of some of these, see, scarcity minded, these are people, they believe that resources are scarce, their future is bleak, and nothing can change that. They often feel that life is unfair. I don't have time for those people, okay? They lack the desire to learn or change. They're comfortable with the status quo and like things the way they are. They feel that they know enough and they want to hunker down and just sort of ride it out and survive. No, I want people who want a brighter future. Unteachable, I describe that. They don't trust others. They're unteachable. They follow the crowd. Well, how come everybody isn't doing this? They're always suspicious. They don't want to learn. They just want to follow the herd. They're wishy-washy. Well, I'm not sure. I need to think about it for 3 years. Oh, yeah. They're blaming or justifying. It's what I call dealing below the line. They're financial jellyfish. They will always have too much month left at the end of their money, okay? They won't fit. You have to be disciplined as a saver investor to embrace my financial strategies. They're discourteous and disrespectful. They're late. They're never on time. They don't apologize. They don't say please or thank you. I basically say, no, you're not the right fit. I would prefer you don't even submit an application or a form to sit down for a free consultation because you're going to be miserable. Now, if you want to change and you're willing to change, if you want to be like this or if you are like this, this is for you. You're abundant-minded. You're motivated to learn and change. You're not satisfied with the status quo. You're teachable. You're independent in your thinking. You don't rely on following the herd. You're decisive in nature. You make your own decisions, okay? You're responsible and accountable. You deal above the line. You don't blame. You don't justify. You don't operate in shame. Well, I'm not smart enough. I've never been a saver. I don't know. No, I want somebody who's responsible and accountable. Financially disciplined to be able to save and live on less than what they earn, and they're courteous and respectful. I will be on time. I will finish what I start. I will do what I say I'm going to do, and I'll say please and thank you, but I expect them to do the same thing, or it's not a pleasant experience. Now, if this is making sense to you, again, people go, golly, Doug, that's pretty curt. That's pretty blunt. Well, yeah, because I have way more opportunities, people that want to meet with me or learn from my staff or the advisors I point my students to that watch these videos on YouTube and so forth. I have way more opportunities than I have the capability to seize. More engagement opportunities than I have availability. So I have to filter them. This filters them right off the bat. This gets rid of 20 to 30% that are going to end up eliminating themselves sooner or later anyway. So let's just take care of it sooner than later, and everybody's happier. So when I begin to delineate, this is what attracts the right fit people. So I would recommend whatever you do, that you think through some type of a scoring system. I have sometimes 5 different columns from poor, fair, good, better to best. This one's very simple, okay? This is the challenging mindset, people. This is the ideal mindset. If you fit over here or you want to be here, let's move to the next step. When I have taught this to orthodontists, CPAs, attorneys, chiropractors, body repair shop owners, it doesn't matter. If you have more opportunities than you can handle, you have to filter which customers, clients, opportunities you're going to seize, these, and which ones you're going to delegate or let go of, and you will be happier, and they will too. So if you've gotten some insights from this, be sure and share this video with other business owners. Also, click like, post a comment, subscribe to the channel. Why? Because it's free. And I post at least 5 new educational videos every single week. I have over 500 like this. If you would like to learn more about what I've been talking about here, this is just one concept in my most recently introduced book here just a couple of months ago called The 10 Keys Transformation. And because it is so rich with color, charts, and graphs inside of here, I basically only offer it right now in digital version, so that you can get a free copy and you can print it out if you want, or you can read it digitally, or you can invest in the audio book, or you can invest in a 18-hour masterclass if you would like. But as you print this out and you read and study it, you'll begin to understand some of these strategies, like this simple one. This is just one out of over 100 in this book, The 10 Keys Transformation. How do you claim your free copy? You simply go to free10, the number 10, keysbook.com. free10keysbook.com. You contribute a nominal amount towards the processing of this, and I will fire out a free copy, digital copy for you. And there's also options in there if you want to invest in the audiobook and also in the 18-hour masterclass if you really want to hunker down and learn how to exponentially elevate your career, profits and customer engagement in 60 months or less while simplifying your life. I have helped many entrepreneurs 10 times their income from $500,000 to $5 million in less than 60 months while simplifying their life. So go to free10keysbook.com and I'll see you on the other side of success.